figures published this week have revealed the extent of the homelessness crisis in Scotland. On this SNP government's watch, 40,685 homelessness applications were recorded last year. That is the highest in a decade. And as of March 31st this year, there were almost 32,000 live homelessness applications. Every number is a human being in need of desperate help and support, but this SNP government is failing them. In the face of this homelessness crisis, this Parliament shamed the government into declaring a housing emergency earlier this year. But despite that, the Housing Minister, Paul McLennan, insists this government has a good track record on tackling homelessness, a decade high. So can I ask the First Minister, is there a housing emergency or not?
President Officer, yes, there is a housing emergency. The government recognises that, and the government is taking action to remedy the housing emergency. There is a range of action that is being undertaken to ensure that we improve the position on the availability of accommodation through tackling the issue of voids. There is further work being undertaken to strengthen investment in the delivery, the construction of new homes and the refurbishment of existing homes to be available for rent. And there are steps being taken in the planning system to ensure that we can take the steps to tackle the housing emergency. So the government is absolutely focused on building on its strong record of house construction to tackle the challenges that we face.
Anas Sarwar.
I welcome that the First Minister recognises a housing emergency, but the broader answer demonstrates a government with its head in the sand and oblivious to the struggles of thousands of Scots facing homelessness as we speak. Let's look at the facts. Under this SNP government, we have the lowest levels of home building by housing associations since Thatcher. Overall house building is down by 17%, and the affordable home building target is in tatters. And we now shamefully have record levels of children in temporary accommodation without a home to call their own. That is over 10,000 children left homeless on this government's watch. And the number of young people living in B&Bs has soared in just the last 3 years by over 900%. So, First Minister, with record levels of homelessness and you now agreeing with the declared housing emergency, will you change course or will you back your out-of-touch Housing Minister?
First Minister, I would be grateful, Mr Sarwar, if you could speak through the Chair. First Minister.
Mr Sarwar challenges me on the government's record, and he just talked about facts. So allow me to share some facts with Parliament. Between 2007 and 2024, this government was responsible for the construction of an average of 7,750 affordable homes each year. And during that period, we endured the financial crash and 14 years of austerity under the last Conservative government. And of course, we have the prolonging of austerity under the new Labour government. Between 1999 and 2007, when Mr Sarwar's party were in charge of the Scottish Government and Jackie Baillie was for a short period a minister in that government, the Labour government, when money was so flush that they left money in the Treasury kitty unspent, there was an average of 5,448 affordable homes. Now, just so that everybody hears that clearly, at a time of plenty, when the money couldn't literally be spent in time, an average of 5,448 homes were delivered each year by the Labour Party. Under this government, it's 7,750 homes, so we're getting on with the job.
Anas Sarwar.
Presiding Officer, the First Minister wants to talk about at a time when I was 16 years old, not a time when 10,000 children are homeless in Scotland right now under this government's watch. And it's the devastating consequence of what he himself admitted was a government too focused on what they can't do than what they can do. Scots left to pay the price for an SNP government that's lost its way, is incompetent in government and is bad with people's money. Housing in Scotland is completely the responsibility of this SNP government, but after 17 years, when will they take responsibility rather than always looking for someone else to blame? So will the First Minister recognise that he has a choice: put up with more failure or get to grips with the housing emergency, sack this Housing Minister and change direction?
First Minister.